Alright guys, I am doing another live video. This is going to be part 2 of the Footsies 101 series, focusing on Dragon Ball FighterZ. Last lesson was about poking, right? So just as a quick primer, refresher, the 3 pillars of Footsies are moving forward beats moving backwards slash whiff punishing, moving backwards beats poking, poking beats moving forward. Today we're talking about moving forward. Alright, so just as a quick, let's say, just obvious thing, you have to think about why you would want to do these things, right? Why you would want to move forward in close space. Typically, it's to put yourself into an advantageous range. Now, that can mean a lot of different things, right? Whether that's in range to do a box jump, in range to just throw a poke out, talked about pokes last video, or just push them into the corner where they can no longer run away from you, right? Key thing in this game is that moving forward isn't just about running forward or walking forward. It's also, you know, anytime you have a forward moving ability, like Super Dash, or like a dive kick, or something like God Slicer, or of course like everybody's favorite, Bardock's Lariat, right? Moving forward closes the distance, puts you in an advantageous position in general, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. The most basic of which is, of course, just running forward. Now, an addendum to that is in anime games or Marvel games, which is kind of like an anime game, it's not just being on the ground. Since you can block in the air here, moving forward also includes jumping after somebody. So if you're just running forward, you know, you can get hit by jumping real easily right there. So it includes jumping at somebody like that, which is very common in this game, which is another reason why Super Dash is so important, alright? Now, the idea here isn't that you want to score a hit, right? You have to get that idea out of your mind, because that's kind of what poking is for, right? Even if all you're doing is like closing the distance and making them jump backwards like this, then you have to consider that a good thing. You don't get impatient. You don't want to overcommit yourself and just run into buttons right there, right? All you have to do when you're moving forward is make it where it's uncomfortable for them. Uncomfortable. So here's a... Yeah, so it doesn't have to be even, like, you don't even have to be like an advantage, like you put them in a block string or anything like this. Even if you run into a space where like maybe they can't hit you with a falling button, like if they hit a jump medium, jump jab, jump heavy, they're not going to hit you. That's a pretty good spot if that's where you want to be. If they put you in a space, if it puts you in a space where it just makes them want to move backwards, then that might be all that you're trying to accomplish with moving forward. Again, being at advantageous position is, you know, a pretty nebulous idea. That's definitely where different character abilities plays a really big role. So whether you're pushing them into the corner or just getting yourself in a good spot, maybe putting yourself into a space where it's difficult to react to something, right? Like moving right here, they can't punish me with, you know, a light jab or a medium, and it's extremely difficult to anti-air Super Dash in this space, for example. So moving forward that's how moving forward beats quote-unquote moving backwards and slash whiff punishing. Now this is the next lesson, right? But in order to whiff punish, you typically have to have the ability or the space or the distance to react and actually punish something. Like, so they have to have space for, you know, a big button to come out and be reasonably sure that it's going to hit, right? They need to be able to react to a Super Dash, which is extremely difficult from close range, but pretty easy from far range, right? So just as an example, I'll run through maybe a couple of examples here. Something really common for the way I open up people in general, Stealthy, who's in the chat right now, or was earlier, like something real simple is you'd run up and then Super Dash from here, right? So instead of just doing a Super Dash from round start, which might get 2H, might get backdashed away from, might get jump jabbed on startup from maybe, right? Or on jump jab from as a punish from further away. If you're closing the distance first and then you Super Dash from a really close range, basically there's no way they're reacting to this. Maybe if, like, you know, you're some kind of 12-year-old phenom with world record reaction time, you can jab this on reaction, but for most people, you're in this space, it's extremely difficult to react to anything that you do, right? So again, that's for Super Dash, right? But that applies to any kind of button. If you're in a range that's uncomfortable for them, or too difficult for them to react to something, or too difficult for them to whiff punish with something, it makes your pokes stronger, which is why it's important to move backwards away if that's what's happening to you. But you keep moving backwards, then you're in the corner, and I don't have to worry about getting whiff punished. You know, I know exactly where, I know kind of exactly where you're going to be, at least in side-to-side movement once you're in the corner. So, key points here: move forward to enable your pokes, right? Move forward so that your pokes are harder to get punished. Move forward to push them into the corner where they can no longer move away from you. Move forward just to make them uncomfortable. That's the general idea. Again, this is part of Footsies, and remember, Footsies is neutral, which means you kind of have to make a guess, right? This is not a for sure, surefire thing that's gonna work all the time. This is what you do when you think the opponent is moving backwards, or just in general trying to play defensively. Moving forward, again, is what beats moving backwards. All right, and that's actually pretty much it. Pretty intuitive part of Footsies. You want to close the distance, make it uncomfortable for them, put yourself in the range where you are strong, and hopefully they are not. All right,